Good evening and welcome to Paul T's World. Do you know what happens in your garden at night? Well, if you don't, you'd better watch this video. I was shocked, and I'll bet you will be too. I'm going to show you my garden at night, the animals that visit, and then I'm going to do a review of the Ceyomur CY95 Trail Camera I've been sent. At the end of the video, I'm going to make a request of you. Everyone can participate, and it's going to be really interesting. Let's have a look at using a trail camera in the garden. I'm lucky enough to have a pond. Water always attracts wildlife. A good place to put the trail camera is overlooking the pond. Here is the same view at night. We've got a cat. It's actually more interesting than it looks. What is this cat doing? In actual fact, it's fishing, but it's not fishing for fish. This cat is obviously, you see it putting its paws there into the water? It's looking for my newts. It's trying to catch newts. I didn't know they did this until I put this trail camera out. Like most gardens, I have plenty of cats come in the garden at night. And here we have a hedgehog. Now hedgehogs like water, and in actual fact they can swim. And this one is looking around for the best place to have a drink. Hedgehogs hibernate, so there won't be any through the winter. They need to get to a good weight to be able to hibernate, and that weight is 500 grams. If they are less than 500 grams, it's very difficult for a hedgehog to successfully hibernate. Very early in the morning, the squirrels come before I'm up. And here's one having a drink. And then in the evening, the fox arrives. I think you might have seen the camera there. They're very shy. Then later on the hedgehog is back, again looking to have a drink. Now this is interesting. Can you see to the right of the hedgehog a little amphibian comes out onto the pathway? There he is, and back he goes. That's a newt. Some newts hibernate in the pond, and some of them leave the pond, usually about August, and hibernate in different areas of the garden. So being an amphibian, they breathe air. Now I had never seen a newt leave the pond. Newts do explore the garden. And here's the cat back again, looking for newts. I like to put the cameras in different parts of the garden. I want to see where the wildlife is coming into the garden, at what time, and where they're leaving. So our first customer is the cat, comes in from the corner of the driveway gates. And then a fox comes in from the other side of the garden. I had noticed that a fox walks across this hydrangea bed, and so I had tucked away the camera near this fir tree. And during the day, the first thing I got was a tomcat, marking his territory. Compost heaps have a lot of insects and worms, and so you'd expect quite a lot to go on around compost heaps. The fox is quite wary. This fox has come round the corner, seen the camera, and turned round and gone back. Yeah, and has a quick look back as he walks away. So I'm trying to see what animals come up and down the side of this side of the house. Now what is this at night? Walking down the flower bed, I was a bit shocked because I suspected what it was. Now the following morning, when I had a look at that area, because I was afraid maybe the badger might have been doing some digging, This is what I think he was doing. Looks a little bit big for a cat, that. Yes, that looks just about the right sized animal. And there we are, a badger in my garden. This particular video was the very first time I saw this badger. I really didn't expect a badger in this garden. No one had mentioned badgers, I'd never seen them before, and now with this camera out, I see it all the time and realise it comes into the garden almost every night. Back at the pond, which is one of my favourite places to put the camera, it's also interesting to see how the vegetation grows over the year. These are the two cannas on the left-hand side, how they were in May. The fox also visits this area for a drink, and also I think there are mice there behind the pond. He's having a good look round. He saw the camera but wasn't too spooked by it. I think that's a young fox. And here we have the hedgehog. A little scratch. Sometimes they have ticks and a shake. I put out some water to see if we could bring some animals close to the camera. Of course, and obviously we get the cat first of all. And here we have a fox looking for those mice that live behind the pond. Sometimes at night the lenses do mist up if it's a misty or foggy night, but that's okay, that's just how cameras are. And here's a fox passing by. Often the lens then clears by itself first thing in the morning. I like to put the camera on the pathways as well. Now that fox has turned round, he didn't like the look of the camera. This is the front garden, and I've noticed that the animals come from through the hedge here. I've got a long beech hedge, so they come through the beech hedge and up this little slope here. Now for some reason, there must be worms or I don't know what round here, but the animals spend a lot of time round here. The foxes, the badgers, the hedgehogs and the cats of course. I'm going to put the trail cam overlooking this area here. I'm putting it quite low because you want to be ideally at kind of head height to the animals. It looks more interesting. The badger doesn't really mind about tripods or anything unusual, but the fox does. And the fox actually won't walk past a tripod, far too wary of it. So I try and disguise the tripod. And in fact, because it's rained a lot this last month, what I did is I put a bin liner, that's a little black piece of plastic, over the whole of the tripod. And when my sister brought her little puppy round, the little puppy was growling at this tripod. So if the puppy notices it and is unsure of it, then a fox is not going to like it. So what I like to do is semi-disguise the tripod and the trail cam. A foxglove seedling. I've got a persicaria to break up the outline. I will put this canna at the back of it and maybe this canna here, like that, just to break up the outline. You've got to be careful that you don't have any vegetation actually swinging about in front of the lens, otherwise it'll constantly be setting the camera off. The other thing I like about this view here is the shrubs don't wave about too much in the wind. They do a little bit, but not too much. If you have shrubbery in the foreground or trees waving in the wind, it'll keep setting the cameras off. Just to make sure there's plenty going on here overnight, I am going to put 1 or 2 seeds in this area. It'll just encourage them to stay a bit longer so I can get some better footage. It's always exciting in the morning to go and get the trail cams, check the footage and see what's happened overnight. It's how I spend my breakfasts, checking trail cams. And I was absolutely right, because this is the first time that I saw the badger in the front garden. and I had the badger, a hedgehog, and a mouse and a cat, all in the same evening. I think the fox walked by as well. A neighbour had bought a hedgehog house and was feeding the hedgehog. They came to me and said that all the food was being eaten every night, but they were suspicious that the local cats were getting the food, in spite of the fact this is a dedicated hedgehog house, so cats shouldn't be able to get in. They asked me to bring the camera round and first of all got the 2 little kittens that the next door neighbours had just bought. But at this angle, we couldn't really see what was happening, whether the kittens were getting into the hedgehog house. So I had to change the angle of the camera, and then the following night, bingo, the culprit. This area here of the front garden has the mice and therefore also the cats. And here we have a bird that I had never seen in my garden before, and the trail camera caught it at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's a grey partridge. I've been using trail cameras for a number of years, and as a professional photographer and videographer, I'm always on the lookout for new, improved features and better quality. And I noticed this latest one from Ceyomur, the CY95, has some extra features that could be interesting. They've agreed to send me one for me to give an honest review. I'll be giving advice on the various settings that are useful for all trail cameras. I'm going to have a look at the features right now, and then I'm going to take it out into the garden and see what we can capture on it over the next few days and see the quality of this 4K camera. The CY95 from Ceyomur. And straight away we can see one of the features that has attracted me, and that's the solar panel. Let's just see what else is in the box just at the moment. So we've got a strap here for attaching it to a tree. We've got a USB cable for charging it and transferring the pictures. There's a bracket here for attaching it to a wall. Don't know how useful that will be, but we'll see. They've included the roll plugs and the screws. And of course, an instruction manual in various languages. These trail cams are quite intuitive, and so generally you don't need the instructions. Each of the surfaces are covered with a little film that you can peel off. So each of them have got this. We've got the sensors here. Quite good to have sensors pointing to the side so it can pick up animals before they even enter the field of view. Here's the lens, and we've got the PIRs and the various sensors. As I mentioned, the solar panel, the brackets for putting the strap through for attaching to a tree, and we've got here a tripod mount. Now generally tripod mounts are at the base, which I think I prefer, so this is going to be interesting, attaching this camera to a tripod, which is what I usually do. I've got some eyes here to attach a padlock or so, if that's what you need to do. I've got the QR codes for downloading the apps, Android and iOS. Now I'm going to turn it on and see whether there's any charge in the battery straight away. Now the other thing that attracted me to this camera was the fact it has an internal rechargeable battery, and I like that. It's also got here room for 4 AA batteries. These would then be backup batteries that wouldn't be used unless the internal battery runs out, which we're hoping won't happen because of the solar panel constantly charging the rechargeable battery. So let's just see if there's any charge in the battery right now. So I'll just put it on. And there is. So let's have a look at what we've got. We'll set it up right now. There are 4 icons along the top of the display, and let's have a look at the first one. So we've got the mode. So you have the option of it only taking photographs, stills, or only taking video, or taking photos and video. So if you have it set for photos and video, once the camera senses movement, it will take a picture, and then it will start shooting video. PIR interval. On this camera, the minimum interval that you can set is 10 seconds. So set 10 seconds. PIR sensitivity. We have high, medium and low. You can experiment with this. I would start with high. Time lapse. Let's leave that off for the moment. Loop recording. I set that to off. If you have loop recording on, then when the memory card is full, it will start overwriting infrared LED. You can have that to auto, which I think is the brightest. But if you find that your pictures or videos are too bright and the animals are rather close, you might want to put that down to medium. Low battery at night. Simply leave that to no shutting. That simply means that if the battery is low, then the camera will not take any pictures. Monitoring period. Set this to on if you want the camera to only register photos and videos between certain times of the day. If you want the camera to record video and pictures all the time, just set that to off. Side PIR setup. Leave that to on. Frequency. If you're in North America, set it for 60 Hz. In most other countries, 50 Hz. We press the right-hand button and move to the right, Photos. Image size. Simply set the image size to the maximum size that your camera will take. And this particular camera shoots 40 megapixels, so you might as well choose 40. Unless you find that the file sizes are rather large and you're only looking at them on a phone or a tablet, then maybe set it down to 20 megapixels. Picture number. You can change the number of pictures that the camera will take one after the other. I would suggest you set this to 5 to begin with. And from my experiments with this camera, it seems to take 1 picture every second, which I actually like. Some other cameras just take them one after the other in rapid succession, so all the pictures basically look the same. This means if you set the number of photos to 4 and you have set the mode to photos and video, then the camera will first take 4 pictures, 1 every second, and then it will start taking a video. Shutter speed. Set that to a 30th, which is the fastest shutter speed. Press the right-hand button and it moves to video. Resolution. I set the resolution to the maximum resolution that the camera can record. And in this case, with this camera, it's 4K. However, if you are only looking at the pictures or the videos on a tablet or a smartphone, you could set it to 1080 p30. The file sizes will be a lot smaller. So it's just your own preference with the quality. I like to start with the maximum quality. Video length. Now this is quite important. I set this to 20 seconds, but it does depend on your situation, where the animals are coming from, maybe how large the animals are. So if you set it for 20 seconds, that means that the camera, once it senses movement, will record a 20-second video. Then it will stop, then it will wait at least 10 seconds until it senses more movement, and then it will record another 20-second video. Record audio. Set that to on. And now let's have a look at the settings. Press the right-hand button and we move from video to settings, the little cog wheel. There's a variety of languages. Default setting, that simply returns all the settings back to how it was from the factory. Format. When you very first turn on this camera, I would recommend that you format the memory card. There is an included 32GB memory card with this camera, which is really good because most cameras do not include a memory card. I find with cameras in general, it's a good idea every now and again to format the memory card. But be careful. When you format a memory card, it completely wipes the memory card clean. So all the pictures and videos disappear. So only do this once you have downloaded all the pictures and videos onto your computer or your phone. Set the date and time. AA battery power. If you put in 4 AA batteries, then it will show you how the power is going with those batteries. Now hopefully they won't be used at all because the internal battery will be powering the camera and the solar panel will be charging up the internal battery. Time format. Choose whether you like 24-hour or 12-hour. Date stamp. Now I would say set that to on. And then a small narrow strip at the bottom of the picture is displayed and it will tell you the exact time that the video was taken, and that's really interesting. So you'll know what time your animals are turning up. Beep sound. Camera name and password setting. That's if you have a number of cameras and you want to make sure no one else can access the footage. I leave those all to off. Bluetooth. Leave Bluetooth on. If you want to use the Wi-Fi facility, then you can activate the Wi-Fi either by pressing the Wi-Fi button, or Bluetooth on your phone will activate the Bluetooth on the camera, which will start up the Wi-Fi. It sounds a little complicated, but in fact, once you learn the system, it works really well. Now, if you're asked for the Wi-Fi password when you first set up this Wi-Fi facility, then the set password is 12345678. Auto Wi-Fi off, I put for 1 minute. Auto power off for 3 minutes. Backlight, 1 minute. Then you can see the version of the software. If Ceyomur bring in updates, it's possible to update your camera. Slide the slider over to the right, and now we turn the auto record facility. This is what you will do when you want to set the camera ready for taking pictures. Auto record ready. It gives you about 5 seconds and then it is primed. Let's see how the camera performs out in the garden. The lighting on the infrared is very good. The quality is better the closer the animal is to the camera. Very sharp images. The PIR sensor has picked up this small animal, a mouse. and the quality of the video is good, particularly as it shoots at 30 frames per second. During the day, the quality is even better as there's more light going in the lens. Once again, it is very sharp when the animal is close to the camera. The lens is quite wide, so I think it's a good idea to try and make sure the animals are as close as possible to the camera. And I'm digitally zooming in on the computer now to this magpie to show you the quality zoomed in. Because we're starting off at 4K. It allows you to zoom in a fair way and retain quality. And that's what I'm doing on the computer. And here we have the stills. 40 megapixel stills. Zooming in on the computer to show you the quality. Stills are taken at a 30th of a second. I set the camera to shoot 3 images, so it shot 1 every second, and this is what it would look like. A still during the day, nice and sharp. And now we'll see the magpie at 100% on the computer screen. I've had the camera now for a couple of weeks and I've had it out in the garden every night. So what do I like about this camera? I like the solar panel, the internal rechargeable battery, and the quality of the 4K 30 frames per second video, and the 40 megapixel stills as well. It's really sharp and well exposed. I was dubious to begin with about having the tripod mount at the back of the camera rather than at the base. However, because I film in the garden all the time and trees aren't exactly where you want them, I prefer a tripod. I wanted a small, lightweight tripod, preferably black, and I managed to find one on Amazon for £16, and it's perfect. It's light, it actually has 3 segmented legs, so it will go quite high if you want it high. It also comes quite low, and let's see how it attaches to this camera. And there we are, we can just attach it like that. This for me is a perfect combination in my garden. However, sometimes I want the camera even lower. So I've got this little tripod, and I thought at first that it wouldn't really suit the trail cam with the tripod mount at the back. However, it fits on this tripod just as well. And what I like about these little bendy tripods is you can actually put them as low as you like. So you can get them almost at ground level, which is fabulous for getting real low-level shots of the wildlife. The disadvantage of this camera is the 10-second delay between one video and the next video. I would prefer it to be more 1 second or 2 seconds. So if an animal is moving around after the 20 seconds that I set for this camera, you then get a 10-second gap. To transfer pictures from the camera to your computer or laptop, you simply use the lead that came with the camera. You just plug it in the base here, and then with the USB into your laptop or desktop. Switch the camera on, and then the pictures will appear in a folder on your computer. The other way of transferring the pictures is to use your smartphone and the Wi-Fi facility on here. You can download stills and video straight from the camera onto your smartphone. Now the Wi-Fi on this camera is its own Wi-Fi. We're not talking the internet. So if you're using the Wi-Fi to transfer pictures, or indeed to look through the lens using your phone, which is quite handy to place exactly where you want the camera to be, you have to be within about 10 or 15 feet of the camera. So it's useful to review the photographs if you don't want to move the camera. The other way to transfer pictures from the camera to your computer is to take the memory card out and to put the memory card into a card reader. In fact, there's a card reader that will plug straight into your phone. And this is what the adapter looks like. Now, if you buy a separate one of these cards, you get one of these for free. So this is simply an adapter which converts your micro SD card into an SD card. And it just slots straight in there, and then this can go into a card reader like that. And it plugs into my desktop computer. I've got a link in the description below to the cards that I use, but the important thing is when you're buying a memory card is make sure that on the front of the card where there's a large U, that there's the number 3, not the number 1 in that U. The number 3 has a write and read speed that is good for all the cameras. So all in all, I do recommend this camera. And also, if you have any problems, the company Ceyomur do actually respond well to emails. I've emailed them once when I was just wanting to know a couple of things about downloading the footage onto my smartphone, and they replied overnight. We love our wildlife in Britain, but the variety of species is fairly limited, partly because we're an island. But I know that you, living in all different countries, are going to have all sorts of animals visiting your gardens. Large, small. What has really amazed me is the badger. The badger is coming into the garden at 6:15 in the evening. I had absolutely no idea that this badger was visiting my garden. I am gobsmacked, as we say in Britain. So let me know. Let me know in the comments below what you found out and any other little anecdote that you think's interesting, because I know that some of you have some pretty big animals that arrive in your garden and some small ones. All animals are important. And I'll see you next time in Paul T's World. Bye.